It is the Bong hit that cost a top draft pick millions of dollars and caused quite a scandal across social media. Just 10 minutes before the start of the NFL draft on Thursday, Ole Miss offensive lineman Laremy Tunsil's Twitter account was hacked. The hacker posted a very old video of the top pick smoking a bong through a gas mask. This caused Tunsil, who was supposed to be drafted in the top 3, to slide all the way down to 13, where he was picked up by the Miami Dolphins. Now, sources close to the Miami Dolphins say they believe the hacker is a former financial advisor of Tunsil's. The release caused chaos on draft night, with some people saying they were outraged not by the pot, but that Tunsil put himself in that situation. Others believe Tunsil and other well-known athletes are being held more accountable for their actions than some national and world leaders. So Tunsilgate is our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico. Attorney Nomi Hussein is joining us today, and Republican strategist and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. All right, guys, this had to have been both the worst and best day of his life.
All at once.
All in one.
You know, first, let me just very quickly address the legal issue here. If it turns out to be this financial advisor, hacking is a crime in the United States now, and in every state, as far as I know. If they find out who did it, they will file charges on that person, and he can sue that person. This was an $8 million Bong hit. I hope it was worth it. I speak regularly to young people in high schools and colleges, and one of the things that I talk to them about is don't be photographed doing something you can't live with later. Laremy just learned that very valuable lesson, unfortunately too late. I go to great lengths because of my public job never to be photographed with even an alcoholic beverage in my hand. For this very reason, I don't want it posted on the internet to come back later to be shown somewhere where I don't want it to be shown. Everyone who has a public position or might have a public position should take that same position, and Laremy should have learned that a very, very long time ago. It's unfortunate, but people in the public eye are held to a higher standard than anyone else. And if you don't want to be held to that, you shouldn't allow yourself to be photographed doing something illegal. Nomi, it cost that young man $8 million for doing something stupid.
I would agree, and Chris, you should thank your lucky stars that Facebook and Twitter and all these things weren't around when you were an undergrad at Sam Houston State University.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
So, you know, taking a step further, you know, people have to understand that your digital footprint, once you put something out there on the internet, even when you go onto your iPad, iPhone, laptop, and you hit delete, that doesn't mean it disappears. It's still out there. So young people, adult people, everybody out there needs to be very careful about what they're doing because it's out there. And this was a mistake, yes, that was made by him. But coming back to the question about the civil lawsuit, you know, if I was advising this young man as an attorney, first thing I'd want to find out is, man, what else is out there? You know, what other things are you photographed doing? Second thing is, you know, you got to get the situation under control. You can't have him speaking to the press. He's got to get a representative to try to control the situation. And third, I would stay away from a civil lawsuit. The 24-hour news cycle is very vicious, but it moves on. And the more he puts it out there as far as a civil lawsuit with discovery and depositions and all kinds of other things, it's going to continue to perpetuate in the news cycle.
As a mother of 2 young men, and especially I have an athlete, a young athlete myself, the first thing I took from this was as a lesson to my young sons. I've always told them, you know, you grew up in an age that is much different from when we grew up, when everything is recorded, everything is taped. They even have stuff like called Snapchat, where you just take a picture and they think it goes away.
It's still there.
And I've warned my young men that it's there and it's going to have an impression on what happens in the future. I think a lot of the young men, like my 2 sons, can look at this as a lesson. This man said that, well, yes, my account was hacked, but he did admit that that was him in the video.
And he was doing something illegal.
The sadder part is he says it happened a long time ago. He's not that old.
It's 2 years ago.
So how long ago have you been smoking pot? Something that's very illegal. And I think that the people who decided with the draft did the right thing, because it's clear he has a lack of judgment, and his decisions are something that they need to be looking at.
I want to address that. I want to go to Sally, but I want to address that very issue, because I don't know if the NFL did do the right thing on that. I want to talk about that coming back, but Sally's monitoring our social media.
All right, we've got all different opinions here on Twitter this morning, guys. Are you ready? First one up, Joe Mason Wright says, don't care what Roger Goodell thinks about the draft. I hope he earns a huge second contract, and if he plays like he can, he will. This person says, what's amazing is someone with sinister intentions violated Tunsil's privacy, humiliated him, and yet Tunsil is somehow the bad guy. And this person responds, yeah, he's the bad guy for thinking he's above the rules. Until players aren't, then they will act as if they are. Hold all accountable. And our loyal viewer Ben says the NFL overreacted. The Ravens had Ray Lewis. They have a statue of Ray Lewis even, who pled guilty to obstruction of justice. And worse, the Ravens, one of the teams that passed on Tunsil.
And you stole my thunder, Ben.
Well, it was a good transition. He knew where you were going.
That's
so
right.
He wanted to have a smooth transition.
That's right. The Ravens pass on this marijuana. They've got a statue to Ray Lewis at their facility. The guy's in prison.
Absolutely. The NFL's enforcement policy is all over the place. They're not consistent. And there's numerous examples of that in the last 3 or 4 years. As far as addressing this situation, they should have spoken to him first and then decided what they were going to do. They just shot from the hip, and I think they didn't react appropriately to this situation.
I mean, what about that? Isn't it inconsistent for a team like the Ravens to say, we can't have this pot smoker, but hey, Ray, we're sorry that this happened to you?
Of course it's inconsistent. And also the young man who beat up his girlfriend slash fiance, then wife. I think that was what they did to him was inconsistent. I think the NFL, and we talked about this on the show, I think that they should have held those young men accountable the same way they are now trying to hold this young man accountable. And I also think that as we move forward, you're going to see more, they're going to be more thought about what these young men are doing, and they're going to be acting more strict, because you can't, these athletes do feel entitled. There's an entitlement brought on by the coaches, brought on by their fans, and it's about time that they now start acting like responsible young men.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. It all goes down to what I've been saying for years. Don't put something on film or video that you can't live with.